So in Indian agriculture, what was happening in the last 70 years is the enthusiasm considered while introducing pesticides or fertilizers or any other technology in agriculture was never followed up in terms of understanding their impacts and take necessary course corrections. Coming to the pesticide issue specifically, the pests which are seen as a problem today are actually a symptom of an underlying problem. And what is that underlying problem? The underlying problem is the increasing use of chemicals which actually disturb the ecological balance. It's a reducing biodiversity because we moved on to heavy monoculture of crops. It's a reducing soil health because we are using one or two nutrients, and then there's a distorted nutrient balance in the soils. And the chemical pesticides which are used are distorting the ecological balance by killing the natural enemies and then leading to resurgence of other pests. And the use of technologies like Bt cotton and one or two chemical pesticides on a large scale also leading to selection pressure, which results in the resistance building up. So all these things are the reasons behind the increased outbreaks of pests and diseases. The new problems are the pesticides which are used, in that less than 1% actually kills the insects. Rest of it either gets into the air as the vapor, and then if you are using power sprayers and all, it may spread to almost 1 kilometer kind of, so the drift, it goes on. Or it falls onto the soil and then gets into the water, groundwater. Or it gets carried away on the food. So what you eat. So either in the form of food or in the form of air or in the form of water, this residues comes in. See all this, we need to move away from the existing framework of pest management and then look at alternative models. And in that process, there are a lot of fears. People feel yields may come down. And I can say from my own experience of 16 years that it's baseless, because across the country, if you take pest outbreaks happened in areas where pesticides are high. It didn't happen in areas where pesticide use is low. Because like I earlier mentioned, pest outbreaks are a symptom of the pest management practices. And the experience in Andhra Pradesh, particularly from the year 2004 onward, shows that the pesticide use can be brought down significantly. Initially, we started with non-pesticidal management, where farmers are trained through farmer field schools to understand their ecosystem and plan how to manage pests. So last 5 years data also shows that there is a significant reduction across the districts. And in a 5 years period, we could bring down the pesticide use by over 50%. It clearly shows that it is just a matter of putting right investments and then right support systems for the farmers to manage insect pests. Say, banning 27 pesticides may not be sufficient, but that's a very good first step is what I would say. So let's start with that and then start looking at if this works, then let's take the next step. I think that's a better approach, I would say. There are more than 75 other pesticides which may need to be banned. And that can come as a next level. Pest management, which I talked about, also considers soils. Say, if you talk about ecological engineering, when we talk about NPM, we are not saying we need to do away with, we need to continue with chemical pesticides or chemical fertilizers or something like that. See, there is the ecological approach is all about how do you understand your situation, make a choice. And then who makes a choice? Either neither the agriculture university nor the activist should take a choice, right? It's a farmer who has to take a choice. What is best and then what can work for them. I think that's a key thing, and it should be economically viable for the farmer. So the Andhra and Telangana experience shows that it's a rejection which has shown the results, the shift. There's no ban on pesticides in the state, but more than half of the pesticide use has come down. So now it has become easy for us to talk about organic farming. Whereas in other states, we are unable to talk because the dialogue, there's no meeting point even to discuss.
In the last dialogue, you were saying that it has improved the nutritional security as well. So, nowadays, it is not the food security. We have started
Correct.
talking about nutritional security. So, would you like to explain a little about it?
Say, if you look at for a healthy life, if you are talking about, we need to have a balanced food. So, apart from the daily intake of carbohydrates and proteins, we also should have enough of vegetables and fruits. For a period of time, if you have seen, there is a nutrition deficiencies among the people, which comes from two sources. One, much of the nutrients actually comes from food. And then if the soils are deficient, the food is also deficient. So the proportion of vegetables and fruits which are consumed are coming down in your diet. So what we try to do in the last 5 years is that every farmer, every village, we started looking at how they can increase their food consumption. So the diversity in their food. So kitchen gardens, home gardens were promoted, and into the farms also diversity has been increased so that you have more diverse production which can happen, and people are also counseled about how to improve their nutrition intake. When we are striking a dialogue with the governments, we look at common meeting point. There could be a lot of differences in our own approaches, opinions and all. We keep the differences aside, agree upon certain points where we can work on. Say, for example, on the pest management practices, if you look at the NPM thing, what we started with saying, can we reduce the pesticide use by 50%? So that was a meaningful dialogue.